Hello world and all who inhabit it. My name is Minish and oh wait, something's wrong. Give me a sec. Ah, there we go. Much better. Figured I may as well look the part if we're gonna go into the world of Pokemon. Anyways, as I was about to mention, in today's video, we're gonna be looking at an MMO that I've been playing for years and years. What kind of MMO is it? A Pokemon Mystery Dungeon MMO. It's called PMUniverse, and this game has been around for ages. Before I jump into how the game plays and all that fun stuff, I kinda wanna touch base on its history a little bit. The first version of the game came out in 2008, and it was called PMU 5, or as players and staff called it, the Stone Age of PMU. It was pretty basic, and it didn't have a ton of features implemented in it, such as evolution, which came later on. But for what it was pretty fun. I mean, I never personally played it, but I know that there were a lot of people out there who started with this when it came to PMU. About a year later, the game was updated and PMU 6 was released. It still played similarly to PMU 5, but it introduced evolution and shinies into the mix. This was when I started playing, and I have so many fond memories of recruiting Pokemon and going to dungeons that were way out of my league. I especially remember going to dungeons like Ash Forest or Stone Solid and being absolutely massacred. It wasn't smart to try and attempt these dungeons with a level 16 Marshtomp, but there I was, at Mount Moon, trying to get a goddamn Absol. I got it, I felt powerful, that's all that mattered. Not long after I started playing, PMU had another update, and it's been using this version ever since. PMU 7 is what it's called, and I remember there being so much backlash when it first started. See, they had to completely switch up the gameplay, maps, and basically start the entire game from scratch when starting on the new engine. In the process, that meant players would also have to start from scratch, and they would lose all of their teams, their items, their profiles, everything. I didn't really mind because I was new at the time and really hadn't accomplished much. But I know a lot of veteran players had some obvious issues with it. If I was a veteran player, I probably would have been upset too. But you know what? I was new, I was a noob, I didn't care, bring on the new updates. Eventually people did get over the changes, and PMU 7 has done nothing but improve over the years. Dungeons became longer, more intricate, and have awesome puzzles to solve. All kinds of Pokemon have been added, even those past Gen 4 with the help of spriters and artists in the community. The fighting and the gameplay have become a lot more streamlined, and instead of gaining certain points to distribute to stats, like in earlier versions, your stats would all improve upon level up. Overall, PMU 7 improved on a lot of things, and it only continues to become greater and greater. It really shows the amount of love and care that the mod team has put into this fan game, and it makes me so happy that it is still being improved on to this day. And I hope it never goes away because I really like this game, guys. Speaking of which, the community in this game is probably the nicest I've ever seen. There's always someone around to help with dungeons or show newbies around. They're quick to answer questions and even will toss out evolution items if you need any. There was a time where I was sitting in the town and this new player couldn't figure out where to get some kind of evolution item that they needed, and someone just dropped it right next to them and goes, "Here you go, you can have it for free," and I'm like, oh my god, okay. Like, this community is so nice. It's great. I've met a lot of really nice people and cool people in this community, and it always brings a smile to my face to see them in the chat all these years later. It's super easy to make friends and become known in the community, so definitely try chatting it up and seeing who's around. Go dungeoning, help someone hunt down a Pokemon or a shiny, and help with missions. With such a friendly community, there's literally nothing to lose. Now that the history and all the loose ends are out of the way, let's get into the game, the fun stuff! You start off as an egg when you first create your character. There will be some Pokemon to greet you and explain some of the controls, and before long, you're off to Destiny Cavern where you get to choose your starter. There's a bunch of different caverns you can choose from, like your basic fire, grass, or water starters, but then there's the Hero Cavern, which lets you choose from all different kinds of Pokemon. On my original profile, I chose Ralts, which is now a Gardevoir, and it only took me 7 years to get her from level 100. Listen, I could have done it sooner, but I was lazy as hell. On this account, let's go with Eevee. It's super frustrating to get it later on. Friendship Forest is the worst, and I will get into that later. Once you choose your starter, go through the crystal in the back, and you'll start up a tutorial with the friendly, obnoxious local Baneri. They're nice enough, but one wrong misclick can have you listening to their explanation like 20 different times. I know how to fight, Baneri! This isn't my first rodeo! Once Baneri lets you go, you're free to explore Eggsbell Woods to the fullest. Use a basic attack with the F key, hold down W, A, S, or D, and use F at the same time to use one of your moves. Pick up items with Enter, and you're well on your way to becoming Rookie of the Day. Hey, that rhymed. Haha, I'm a poet, and I kinda knew it. You can also click on Pokemon yourself or items to check them. Clicking on a Pokemon in a dungeon will let you know if they're recruitable and what their percentage is. Good to know if you're hunting for something rare and difficult to recruit. Once you're out of Eggsbell Hell, you'll be dropped off in the Explorer's Bazaar, and a friendly Furret will give you the rundown of everything. After that, you're pretty much good to start exploring. If you head to the east, south, or west, you'll find plenty of easy dungeons to level up in, and if you head to the north, you'll find Grassroot Town, which is easily the busiest hub in the game. Players gather here to prepare for outings, talk about this and that, promote their shops, show off shinies, and in very rare circumstances, get into arguments. I've seen some very terrifying arguments arise in this town. Oh, they were bad. You've got the Kecleon shop where you can buy and sell whatever you want. If you want my opinion, buying the beginner band and the beginner badge and equipping them to you and your teammates is pretty essential early on. With the badge, you'll have 5+ stats and everything aside from HP for all of your team members. And with the beginner band, it does the same thing and it gives you boosted EXP. Not too bad for early game grinding, at least until you can nab a Wonder Chest or Miracle Chest, which takes some time and effort or a lot of Poke, but hey, it is what it is. There's a Kangaskhan storage where you can, and should, store your important items. Look, don't be a fool like me and not carry an escape rope. If you don't, you'll lose a good chunk of your items and you won't be able to get them back if you faint. That happened to me, and I lost my golden mask, and now it's a struggle to get one back. Don't be a dummy, store your items. Chimecho Assembly is where you can sort your party, change the leader of your team, or add the members to your party. These are different from the other players that can go into dungeons with you. You're able to change these Pokemon on the fly in dungeons, so like, say I'm controlling Eevee, but I want to switch to Rattata. Just use the 1, 2, 3, or 4 keys at the top of your keyboard for an easy shortcut, and then you can change your Pokemon. Now I'm Rattata. Use it to your advantage when you're going on explorations. There's also an inn where you can regain HP and PP after running through dungeons. Just walk onto one of the beds and you're good to go. You can also set your spawn on the beds if you faint in a dungeon. You'll always respawn here when you do. Another facility is the Housing Center. Here you can actually make yourself a base, use Poke to make upgrades, and make it however you want. Creating a house is super in-depth and requires a bit of patience and understanding to get it to work, but if you think of it like an art program with different layers, it's not that difficult. I'd show off one of my designs, but I guess I was restarting my house on my main profile. Let's see if I can create something on Eevee here. There we go, nice and cozy for little Eevee. Look how nice it is. One of the last things I'll go over in Grassroot Town is the message board. Here you can find job requests from dungeons that you've already beaten. Complete these job requests to gain rank points, and eventually you'll go up a rank. Going up in the ranks can give you rewards such as a larger bag, a larger storage, or even the ability to make a guild. Whenever the time changes in the game, the missions will change, so be sure to keep an eye on that. I'll leave the rest of the town for y'all to explore in your own time if you decide to play the game, and this is only one town out of many more to see. Completing more dungeons will open up other paths to different towns, so it's always worth it to explore, explore, explore. Completing some dungeons and taking out bosses can reward you with HMs. Teaching these HMs to a Pokemon, preferably Bidoof or Bibarel or any other HM slave, is essential if you want to navigate around the entire game. You'll also need a Pokemon that can learn Surf or Fly, so be sure to think ahead. Some dungeons also can't be accessed without having certain HMs, so when in doubt, bring your HM slave, or look on the wiki. Either is fine, really. There's certain dungeons that'll have, like, Chimecho posts outside of them, so you'll be able to swap in and out your HM slave whenever you want. Speaking of dungeons, some can be really rough, especially if you go in alone. Like, the dungeon you need to complete before you evolve, it was already rough before they revamped it. The Diglett, the arena trap. I'm gonna cry in the arena trap. But now, it's a longer dungeon, even more Diglett, and a fight with Silvally at the end! All for you to be able to evolve. Not sure what I want Eevee to evolve into, but, you know, hopefully we can figure that out by the time this video ends. I mean, I guess we'll see. The higher level you become, the tougher the dungeons become. Who would have thunk it? And some I even have trouble doing with my level 100 Gardevoir and Hydreigon. Some popular ones I know that people like to run are Sky Fortress, Mysterious Jungle, and Seafloor Ruins. My personal favorite was Dragon's Descent, which is shocking because I had so many reasons to hate this dungeon. Years and years of hunting for a Goomy, I single-handedly slaughtered every single Goomy in the vicinity, and only recruited one because I used a Pokegift on it. My hard work had finally paid off. Until I realized I also needed to get a Dratini from this dungeon, but the only way to get it is to collect gems on the ground in this dungeon. You only pick up 1 to 5 gems, each one that you see on the ground, and you need 10,000 of them to get this Dratini. But it's okay because it's mine and I love her and she's great. Hi Zafira, I love you. There's also dungeons that require multiple players in a party, like Friendship Forest. I had mentioned it earlier, if you plan on getting an Eevee and you don't start with one, you're gonna have to go through this dungeon. Hope you like Discord calls and having good communication. They call it Friendship Forest, but this dungeon is legit about to end your friendship. And lastly, one of the ultimate dungeons to do with friends and test your patience and strength is Harmonic Tower. One of the only places you can get the Gen 5 starters, outside of like Destiny Cavern and a couple other dungeons, but you know, it is what it is. Your level is reduced to 30, you don't gain any experience from fighting enemies, at least not what I can recall, and you need 4 players to get to the very top. This dungeon is a slog and can definitely be a headache. I'd recommend only going if you know you're gonna have the time. There's nothing worse than having to bail on someone when you're on floor 80. I would know. It's happened to me before. Other than that, PMU is super fun, and I really do recommend it to any Mystery Dungeon fan out there. I know there's been a lot of fan content, what with randomizers, ROM hacks, and fan games, and I can safely say that PMU has always been a very fun game to come back to all these years later. If you want to give the game a try, I'll leave a link to download in the description below, as well as the PMU Discord too. The community is very welcoming, the game is super fun and addictive, and it's always nice just to come back and play every so often. So who knows, maybe I'll see you around. Keep an eye out for me and maybe we can do a dungeon together sometime. Thank you all so much for watching, and if you like Mystery Dungeon or Nintendo content, please be sure to subscribe for more. I'm gonna be playing through Mother 3 on the channel starting in April, so be sure to stick around if you want to watch it. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you all soon. Bye bye!